The piece was all about a recently elected Michigander who will soon be serving 2 terms simultaneously, one as a re-elected Monroe County commissioner and the other in Club Fed. Mark Brandt, a longtime Republican politician in Monroe County, Michigan, who was elected first to Monroe County Commission back in 2012, was reelected as county commissioner despite being sentenced to 18 months in federal prison for leasing land to an illegal marijuana operation. Brandt kept his legal troubles hidden from his constituents for years, only revealing them shortly before his resignation, right before the election this past October. Fellow Commissioner Randy Richardville told the USA Today that when Brandt's colleagues got a whiff of that he might be in trouble, Brandt assured them nothing was happening. Turns out something was happening, Richardville said. When Brandt, who was serving as chairman for the commission, finally came clean in September that he was facing a potential prison sentence, Richardville said, "We were all like, what?" Brandt, this is what it says in this damn article. Brandt resigned from the commission on October 1st, but it was too late for Brandt to take his name off the ballot, even though he wanted to. And it was too late for other candidates to get their name on the ballot. And so Brandt was elected to a 4th term, November 5th, with a staggering 90% of the vote. By then, it was too late to remove his name from the ballot, and he won re-election with 90% of the vote in the heavily Republican district. Brandt plans to serve his term while incarcerated, delegating constituent concerns to colleagues and promising to make his salary available for charity. It's only $15,000, so he's making more money leasing that that land to trappers. So I guess he's gonna keep on doing what he does. His conviction sparks ethical debates, particularly over letters of support written by public officials and whether elected officials can effectively serve while imprisoned. Critics, including residents and former officials, argue that Brandt should resign again, citing concerns about trust and accountability. However, Michigan laws offer limited mechanisms for removing him from office under these circumstances. Brandt has dismissed the gravity of his conviction, asserting it does not compromise his ability to serve. Supporters say if there's one thing that Brandt has been addicted to, it's not marijuana, it's doing good business. This guy's awesome. For the article, instead of resigning a second time and despite his personal, quote unquote, personal circumstances interfering with the smooth operation of the county he loves, Brandt hustled over to the county clerk's office last week before checking into jail and took the oath of office to serve a fresh 4-year term. Even with time off for good behavior, Brandt will spend the first year of that term behind bars, and he says that it's no big deal. "While I'm gone, my phone will be available," Brandt said last week. "I have somebody who will be taking my messages, and my fellow board members have all volunteered to handle all of my constituents' concerns that I won't be able to handle." As for his salary of about $15,000 a year, Brandt said he has no choice. "By law, I have to take the payment while I'm in," he said, pausing to avoid saying prison, then adding, "while I'm not here." Saying so. Say what y'all want about Mark Brandt, but this has got to be the most blatantly gangster shit I've heard of in a long time. This man was straight up trapping in a legal state while operating as Monroe County Commissioner. He got popped while campaigning, so he told his colleagues and constituents that, hey, it's no big deal. Then he was handed down an 18-month sentence, proving that, yeah, it was kind of a big deal. So he resigned, saying that he didn't want his legal issues to be a distraction. But it was too late, and he won the shit in the landslide. And not no Donald Trump barely eking out 50% of the vote. This man won by 90%. He was like, fuck it, y'all need me. That shit ain't that I said about being a distraction. Yeah, I misspoke. Mm-hmm. Keep my office warm, bruh. Karen finna take my calls and emails for the next year or so, but I'm gonna be good. We all gonna be good. In my opinion, whether it's Mark Brandt in Michigan, Donald Trump in Washington, cats with cases are winning at the ballot box right now. Rather than getting all mad about it and screaming online about how unfair the system is or how the Republicans ain't shit for putting felons and convicts into office, I think those of us out there, and I say us, those of us, because Republicans, Democrats, whatever you are, We are all American citizens. It is all us. But those of us out there that call ourselves Democrats need to take a long, hard look in the mirror.
Yeah.
America wants people like this in charge. And guess what? Because of the prison industrial complex that y'all Democrats had just as much to do with building, because that still remains, there will be more Mark Brandts to come. Y'all need to quit acting holier than thou and start recruiting real motherfuckers on your side too. Who knows? Maybe y'all will start winning again, because what? It is America, folks, being made great again. I'm Rico Lamitte, the dopest dad on the street for High 9 News. The trap wins again.
Yeah, man, I love this story, and I don't think that he should step down. I think he should totally serve his term. I mean, after all, you guys were planning on having the president serve his term on house arrest. You know what I'm saying? Over at the White House, and so you know what I mean. Not to mention Joe Biden pardoned his drug addict son yesterday, and just
literally,
yeah. So I think that it's totally fine that he serves his term. It's par for the course. This is what America's built on.
I commend this man, Jason. This guy said, fine, I'm going to show up to work even though I'm in fucking jail. Yeah. And that's cool. I'm going to go to jail. Rico, you can schedule your calls differently. If this man could show up on time in jail, I'm kidding. But no, this is, I actually love this story. And I think that it's, fuck yeah, the trap wins again.
Exactly. This is America, bro. This is what America's built on right here.
I mean, and listen, like American people, it's the will of the people, right? They wanted, his constituents voted for him. Yep. He was elected by his constituents.
Duly
Let's
elected.
let the will of the people prevail, right? And I appreciate also that he's like, listen, I have to take, instead of sending the money to my commissary, go ahead and donate it to charity. I think that that's commendable as well.
That's very commendable. Apparently, he has people that's going to put money on his book so he can have some spreads. It doesn't need that.
You gotta have the soup, so you can't play in the spades game.
That's right.
Yarrow, what you got on this?
Here we fucking go.
Yeah, here we go. He's gonna push back on everything.
This is challenging for me. When I
we know everything's challenging for you.
Are you Jenny? Are you guys just deciding you were like who's going to tag team first? I mean, when I last served time for Cannabis, I still had a real estate license, and so I would have my reports and inspections sent in, and then I would take calls with clients from the county jail, and I believe we're only as sick as our secrets, and all of my clients knew what was going on for me because it was a 5-year saga litigating that case, and I did a great job from jail, and I once closed a $2 million 128-acre mountaintop parcel land transaction, and I made sure 178 men in that mod ate, and we had a great time. This doesn't necessarily look like this guy was. I mean, I don't know how far out he was coloring outside the lines, so it's hard for me, Rico, to have a lot of judgment as much as I try to channel some. I do think that. I think this country was founded on this idea of redemption, forgiveness. You pay your time if you do the crime, and that America loves a comeback.
So playing a little bit of devil's advocate here. All right. I'm like whatever about the story, so I have no emotional ties either way about the story. I just think it is what it is. Dude did what politicians did what politicians do, and he said, "Oh yeah, that's no big deal," and it ended up being a big deal. Dude was allegedly. No, it's not even allegedly. He got popped for it, so it's not allegedly anymore. He was leasing his land to several trappers, different tenants that were actually doing this multiple times, and he got popped for it. Right? He had a large parcel of land, and he was letting motherfuckers go illegally on his land. And he lied to his staff, his colleagues, and everybody. And when he finally did get sentenced, he was like, oh shit, well, I'm resigning now. I'm going to do the grown-up thing and man up to what happened. But it was too late. Like literally, it was on October 1st, and a bunch of people had already voted already. And by the time that he resigned, nobody else could get on the ballot. So he won in a fucking landslide in a very Republican in a very Republican district. And
America loves winners.
Well, I think it's important to acknowledge that he won by a landslide with a cannabis conviction in a very Republican district, right? So let's maybe not perpetuate this whole every Republican is like, fuck you, weed, because that might not be the case. And like, honestly, I guess I don't think that there is a devil's advocate side to this, right? Like the devil's advocate. Lettuce. The devil's lettuce is the side, right? And the issue is that we have these archaic laws about a plant that does not fucking hurt people. So if we didn't continue to prosecute people for doing something that is a victimless crime, which is why jury nullification exists, then we wouldn't be in this conundrum to begin with. And this man could just go to work in a suit and tie instead of a jumpsuit.
Jenny Beth, I agree with about 90% of what you said. The one thing I do would push back on is Michigan Republicans have not been against cannabis. Like Michigan, I don't think we've ever said that. Like Republicans in Michigan have been pro cannabis. They've been more corrupt and found to be corrupt because as we've been through like lots of these Michigan Republicans and cannabis stories.
I'd say they just haven't been as good at covering up as Democrats.
Michigan is kind of an outlier of more of a balanced state. And Michigan's like, yo, we like money, and people where everybody's like, yo, we like money, generally tend not to be for all that like save the children bullshit.
Yeah, and I think
that's the only pushback I would have. That's it.
Oh no, and I totally hear you, and I completely agree with you. Yes, and I think that we just kind of sometimes blanket over, and we're doing a much better job lately that the Democrats all do this or the Republicans all do this. You know, party-wise specifically, it's more like, hey, how do we get more tax revenue and money? So that was all I was saying. But I
can't co-sign everything he did or didn't do. What I can say is, it's not that the Republicans don't like weed. It's definitely that the Republicans like money. So he definitely was a landlord and benefited from it. And what I appreciate is he didn't turn states. So my metric is like, look, if you do the crime, you do the time. If you get in trouble, you don't make your problem somebody else's. So it doesn't look like he lost he didn't lose his moral compass in the pursuit of personal. What's that?
He could snitch on himself. He's the landlord.
He could have snitched on a variety of other operators or people who he saw come and go or whatever.
Well, I mean, that's what happened. They got popped and it came back to him as a landlord, and they found out he'd been doing this for a long time. And yes, he did know about it.
Haters.
Yeah, but if he's been doing it for so long, I'm sure there are other people that didn't get popped that he could have implicated as well.
I guess so.
Yeah, I mean, maybe not. All I'm saying is it doesn't say he turned states. And so for me, if I'm trying to judge somebody,
he didn't snitch.
He didn't snitch. He's doing it. And my hope is that he does a really good job at the job he was elected to do. Clearly, the $15,000 that he's going to earn doing it isn't the primary motivation, especially when they found 300 racks at his house and he was fined over $500,000. So I hope he does a really good job. And I hope when he gets out,
that $300,000 should have gone to his fine.
He's been doing this shit for 12 years. He's been doing this shit since 2012, like as the county controller. And and so like, he's probably at this point like, I can do this shit with my eyes closed.
I hope that
his accounting is great.
My prayer and wish for him is that when he gets out, he has a lot more compassion for the vast number of people who've had entanglements with the criminal justice system solely over cannabis or cannabis adjacent activity. And maybe this process makes him more passionate about defending other people's future opportunities in a regulated paradigm, but also understanding that those that don't choose to participate in a regulated paradigm, is it really a big crime? Sure, if you're selling dirty carts to kids out of the back trunk of your Hyundai at the schoolyard, but just the mere act of growing the plant, it's hard for me to see how in this era anybody is going to jail for that or landlording to a cannabis grower. And so there's some injustice in that, even if this guy knowingly took that risk.